believe you give me a chance, like, I'll put us in a position to win.
Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce sends a strong message to the quarterbacks right before training camp starts. Plus, wide receiver Davante Adams is optimistic about some of the pieces the Raiders have added in the NFL draft. We're going to break this down and the Raiders situation heading into training camp. Make sure to subscribe. The Raiders were able to land the tight end out of Georgia, Brock Bowers. This guy was an absolute steal for the Raiders, who were able to nab him at pick 13, even though he was projected to go top 6, top 5. And now we have a video from the LA Rams where it shows Sean McVay and the GM Les Snead trying to make a trade to move up to number 10 in the draft, and there were rumblings before the draft that they were trying to select Brock Bowers. So this proves how much of a steal Brock Bowers truly was. You have an offensive-minded head coach in Sean McVay who has been trained by John Gruden, the best of the best, and this guy sees Brock Bowers, believes he's a top-tier talent, but unfortunately for McVay, the Raiders were able to swoop him up. Davante Adams is excited about working with Brock Bowers, and he's been talking about how the guy is all business, stoic, and not a smile, not a laugh.
Spoke to the rookies, did like a little panel with them, and just trying to make them laugh a little bit too. And I see Bowers is in the front row, like, I know.
If the Raiders get Brock Bowers to laugh just once during the season, that's how you'll know they're playoff bound. Another player has been trending upwards during minicamp for the Raiders at the running back position, Dylan Lobby, who was drafted in the 6th round of the 2024 draft, coming from the New Hampshire Wildcats. Funny thing enough, it's been about 10 years since a New Hampshire Wildcat was drafted. Dylan Lobby models his game after Christian McCaffrey. He is a receiving style running back who participated recently in the Senior Bowl. And we've seen reports emerge from the Raiders that Lobby has been getting first team reps, mainly on passing downs. So with the Raiders now leaning on Zamir White as their primary running back, this guy's expected to run in between the tackles. He's not a receiving style back, so this opens up the door for somebody like Dylan Lobby to instantly contribute to the team. We've also heard reports that he's been doing special teams, kick return, punt return. I don't want to be delusional and hype this guy up too much yet, but offensive coordinator Luke Getsy does like what this dude has been showing on the mental side.
And really, I've been most impressed with the knowledge part of it and how quickly he's able to pick up everything. And
another offensive player is being hyped up by the Raiders, and that is wide receiver Trey Tucker. This guy has solidified himself as the number 3 wide receiver ever since the Raiders have moved on from Hunter Renfrow and DeAndre Carter. At 5'9", Trey Tucker does not have the height like some of the other wide receivers on the Raiders team, but he does have speed. So I think he's going to complement the rest of the wide receiver room well. And I think more than before, you're going to see this guy on the football field being part of that starting 3 wide receiver rotation. And Raiders head coach Antonio Pierce seems to love this guy.
Obviously the obvious ones, but one guy really stood out this offseason, Trey Tucker. Different dude. He looks different, acts different, runs different, catches the ball different.
We've mentioned all these offensive weapons the Raiders have. People have already been talking about the defense, the big free agent signing in Christian Wilkins, and the fact that the defense did well last year under defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, who is gonna be the defensive coordinator again. Finally, the Raiders have some continuity on one side of the football. But on offense, the Raiders have a brand new coordinator in Luke Getsy, and we have heard reports that despite the fact that the Raiders have all these great weapons, there are growing pains in learning this new offense in year 1. Antonio Pierce maintains that it is common right now for these mistakes to be happening early on.
I don't think the offense is behind. I think the offense is where every team that has a new offensive coordinator and head coach is at right now. I don't think I've ever heard a team say, man, the offense is way ahead of the defense right now in June. It's normally the opposite. It's always the defense is ahead of the offense.
And on one level, going up against a tough Raiders defense is going to make the offense look worse, but at the same time, there are concerns with the Raiders quarterback room. Both of these QBs have thrown interceptions throughout minicamp. Jacorian Bennett got a nice pick off of Gardner Minshew. New defensive back Devon Shire got a pick off of Aiden O'Connell too. And when asked about the potential of the Raiders offense this year, Davante Adams said a lot of positive things, but he also said, we'll see.
Definitely wouldn't put any expectations on anybody, but you know, it's no secret we got some dangerous weapons on the team as a whole, not to mention offense. So guys stay at it and keep learning and keep getting better and pushing each other. It's a lot of competition right now, so that's what's gonna make everybody better. And then I guess we'll see what that potential is.
Davante Adams, who has a lot of experience in Luke Getsy's offense from his days with the Green Bay Packers, seems like he is patient right now, but there is a concern that the Raiders offense is falling behind, might not be where it needs to be by week 1. And that brings us to the quarterback position. This is going to be the primary concern for the Raiders for the entire year. And that is because they are stacked on the offensive side of the football. They do have a great defense. The offensive coordinator and the quarterback situation are the primary reason why the Raiders are only projected to win around 6 games this year. That's 2 less games than last year. However, Aiden O'Connell, who's in year 2, has talked about the fact that he's been getting more vocal as opposed to being a shy rookie.
Off the field, being more vocal with guys, and I think you just feel more comfortable in year 2. I felt a little bit gun shy to sometimes probably talk and speak my voice last year. And
Davante Adams and Max Crosby have talked about the spark they've seen from Aiden O'Connell and how much they dig it.
He is who he is now, and he's talking a little shit out there too. So it's a little bit of everything. You start to see more of him versus just the shell of a rookie trying to do everything, by the book.
Seeing his maturity and seeing how, he's starting to talk back, and talk some shit back, and I encourage it. You know what I mean? It's like that's what I want him to do. The best of the best. They're ultimate competitors.
But Gardner Minshew is not going to just let this guy take the starting job.
I think that's one of the things about me is I believe step in and I can win. I believe you give me a chance, I'll put us in a position to win. That's something I'm going to have to earn every week.
And honestly, he's getting paid all that cash, $15 million fully guaranteed, $25 million for his full contract over the next 2 years. I don't think general manager Tom Telesco, who decided to pay Gardner Minshew, is going to want to look like a dumbass by not starting him. That'll look like he just wasted a shit ton of money. And Gardner Minshew, because of the situation, seems pretty confident in his ability to beat out Aiden O'Connell. At the same time, Antonio Pierce gave a strong message at the end of minicamp that I think was directed specifically at the quarterback position.
To be ready mentally and emotionally, but more importantly, understanding the playbook, because we're going forward with whoever can understand the playbook. It's not about, draft pick. It's not about money. It's not about status. We're going with the guys that put in the time and commitment to do what we want to do over the next 6 months.
This comment is quite interesting. It doesn't matter where you were drafted, how much you were paid. All that matters is who is ahead mentally in terms of the playbook. Part of the reason why you're seeing other players like Dylan Lobby trend up is because the offensive coordinator Luke Getsy went with this strategy where he just threw the whole kitchen sink, the whole playbook at these players, seeing who could pick it up the fastest. We'll see if Pierce sticks to this. Doesn't matter if you were paid $15 million guaranteed like Gardner Minshew. Doesn't matter if you were drafted as a first-round pick like Tyree Wilson. Whoever is showing early signs of progress is going to get those first-team reps. We know Antonio Pierce wanted the Raiders to trade up to draft a quarterback.
For their new head coach, Antonio Pierce wants to be aggressive in going and getting a franchise quarterback.
He said it in his own way at multiple press conferences when he said he has a go-getter mentality, and he displayed a lot of hints and clues that he wanted the Raiders to trade up to draft Jaden Daniels. That's no secret. We've documented it heavily on this channel. But instead, the Raiders decided to roll with Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. And it seems like there's this tension where the general manager, Tom Telesco, is looking for more long-term strategy, while Antonio Pierce, who wants to maintain his head coaching job, is wanting the Raiders to make more aggressive moves so they win immediately. In my opinion, the Raiders have not set up Antonio Pierce that well in his first year because they did not grab him a quarterback. Even though I'm more optimistic about the running back room than the quarterback room for the Raiders, they also did not sign a big name running back and decided to go with some cheap guys who are on rookie contracts. So I hope if this season goes south, if the Raiders only get the 6 to 7 wins that the betting markets are saying they're going to get, I hope the Raiders continue to give Pierce a shot to build this team onto next year, because not only is Pierce having to settle with these quarterbacks, he also technically had to settle on offensive coordinator. Let's not forget, the Raiders went to hire Cliff Kingsbury. It was announced that the Raiders were going to hire Cliff Kingsbury, and then out of nowhere, he pulled out and joined the Washington Commanders instead. So the first choice was Cliff Kingsbury, ended up with Luke Getsy. First choice was clearly Jaden Daniels or one of the top quarterbacks, maybe Michael Penix Jr., and ended up with Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. But all of this could change. Maybe the Raiders will prove that you don't need a superstar quarterback to make the playoffs. Let me know in the comments below. My name is Wi-Fi Willie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.